Hey, it's Nicole L. Gatson back with another POWOWER. It's a session for women to learn their purpose and apply the word to their lives. So this week we are in Joshua and we are with Rahab and the spies. And it's in Joshua 2, and you need to read the whole chapter in its entirety because it speaks about Rahab and the spies and the role she played in making sure we got to the promised land. So this is about our willingness to be used by God in any situation. So Rahab, as a lot of you know, if you've read and studied, Rahab was a prostitute. And I decided to put my own little spin on this and call it, Can You Get In Where You Fit In? If you know me, I'm from the Bay. And, you know, what I'm about to say is going to be funny. So, say, oh, yeah, you. Can I ask you a question? Can you get in where you fit in? So, in Rahab's story, it shows that God can use anyone. Rahab was a prostitute whose house was a part of Jericho's defensive wall. And when Joshua sent spies into Jericho, the spies lodged in Rahab's house. Joshua 2, starting at verse 1. When the king of Jericho sent soldiers to search for the spies, Rahab hid them on the roof of her house, underneath some flax that she had on the roof, and she covered them up with it. And so when they got there, the soldiers went through the house and everywhere, and they didn't see the spies, and they were like, so where are they, Rahab? And she was like, oh, they left. And if you hurry up, you could catch them. And so they left, went looking for the spies and all that. So because of her great courage and kindness, the spies promised Rahab that her and her family wouldn't be harmed when they destroyed Jericho. But just before Rahab helped the spies escape through her window, her instructions were for her to hang a scarlet cord from her window so that she and her family would be easily identifiable. And she did so because she was like, well, since I helped y'all, I risked my life and told the king that y'all left and all of that, you know, pretty much what do I get out the deal? Because, you know, she a prostitute. They got to get something for what they do, no matter what it is. If you know prostitutes. And so she said, I need my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, everybody I'm related to be protected because of what I did, because I put my life in danger for your movement that don't have nothing to do with me. So she was promised safety for her and her family. And Rahab's story has taught women throughout time that God uses whomever he chooses to fulfill his mission. God doesn't always choose the most righteous. He chooses those who are the most willing. So for God, it does not matter who you are. If you're ready and willing to accept the calling and carry out the work, he don't care. Some of y'all stressed out, scared to go to church, like, oh my God, I used to be this, I used to be that, I used to sell this, I used to do that. God don't care about none of that. Understand me? None of that. As you can see right here with Rahab, he didn't care about none of that. He could have sent those spies to anybody's house, but he sent them to Rahab the prostitute to prove a point that anybody is usable. Those things you went through, those are all testimonies for you to use to build the kingdom. And you sit on those testimonies, and then what? When God comes into our heart, we can truly become new people. However, we must remain faithful in reaching for the courage and boldness that allows us to take the first step towards him. And as a woman of God, we must remember to not discount others who do not act as we do. They too may be used by God and can become new creations. And the reflection question for this is, what is God's plan for you this day? How has God used you in spite of yourself to accomplish his will? So don't put yourself in Rahab's shoes unless you are a prostitute or were a prostitute. No judgment here. That's not a part of my testimony. Thank God. He's used other ways to get my attention. And baby, I'm gonna tell you, it was hard, long journey. But he's using me. He's used me, and he's gonna continue to use me because I'm only a vessel. And anything I say here is because I'm a vessel. And if you don't agree with it, just don't watch the video. Don't say anything, none of that, because you have a choice to make, just like I had a choice to make. And my choice was to accept God into my life and believe that Jesus is the man for me at the end of the day. I don't know who the man for you, the woman for you, whatever you believe in, you know, more power to you. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And if you don't want to serve the Lord, then you're not a part of my household. That's it, and that's all, because God can use anybody. And I see him working, and I see him using so many people. I run into so many people because it's just what I do and who I am. They just sit down and they just tell me about them. They just pour their hearts out. And I see that as a blessing, because that's a part of one of my gifts is counseling, exhortation, you know, encouragement, pushing our people to their fullest potential. And if you don't want to be pushed to your fullest potential, I'm not the friend, person, or whatever for you. And you need to find that person for you, because what God is using me for, if you're not in line and in tune with that energy, then I am not the frequency for you. I'm sorry, that is what it is. Go find another tune to dance to, because I dance to the beat of my own drum. And I made the drum. It's mine. God gave it to me. And I'm going to use it. And that's just how it's going to be. So if you are a Rahab and you're ready to be used, just simply ask God for direction and encouragement so that you can get ready for the journey, because it is a long, dark night of the soul journey that you will have to go through. It will not be easy. You will not just wake up overnight and be like, oh, yay. I remember those days when I first turned my life over to God over 20 years ago. And it took me a really long time to accept my role in the kingdom. And I don't knock anybody for how long it takes them on their journey, because what if somebody knocked me and was like, man, she's just taking way too long. I don't have time for that. And God could have killed me when he first called me, and I was like, that's not for me. Understand the severity of the situation, that if you don't accept the calling, God has the option to take you. But he's patient. He's loving. He's kind. He is all of the fruit. And if you don't like fruit, I don't know what to tell you. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. It is what it is. Y'all prostitutes out here need to get in where you fit in. Because if you're not ready to be used for the kingdom, you're outside of his will. You're not getting into the kingdom, and you can just continue to be a prostitute and be a disgrace to your family instead of an asset to your family, like Rahab was. Her and her whole family could have died. Think about it from that perspective. Her and her whole family could have been murdered. Y'all know the story of Jericho? If you don't, you better go read it. Them walls fell down. Them walls fell down. Them walls fell down. You better go read it. Marched around Jericho. Don't tell me what God can't do. He's using me. Y'all don't like me? Hey. So on that note, you don't have to like me, but you're going to respect me. Love y'all. Good night.